Hey y'all, how are you doing today? I want to talk to you about fatigue and even a little bit about burnout. I've talked about this in the past, but I want to be a little bit more specific. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Dr. Michael Corsilis. I'm a naturopathic physician and a physician assistant. I work in functional medicine and do primary care. So when it comes to fatigue, I have a lot of patients that come to me saying, especially during these times with the pandemic, a lot of people are like, well, I'm actually doing, I'm sleeping a little bit better, actually working out a lot more at home, doing a lot more home exercising, and even eating a little bit better as well. But something's still going on because I'm still a bit tired. So what to do next? What are some good next steps other than the lifestyle things they've been trying to do? Eat better, sleep better, reduce stress, exercise more, all that sort of thing. A common question I have for patients is like, what can I do next? What are some tests that I should be checking? What are some big things that could be going on? What's contributing to this fatigue? So there's a number of factors when it comes to fatigue. Are you having sleep issues? Is there sleep apnea? Are you snoring? Are you really not getting enough sleep because you're staying up late watching Netflix? But when it comes to testing for a lot of different conditions, so there's a lot of things that can be contributing to it. And when it comes to blood work, I'll check, is it your thyroid? Is it your blood sugar? Some people with high blood sugar might be at risk for diabetes. They might have diabetes, and that for sure can make you more tired. When it comes to thyroid regulates your energy and metabolism and weight, so it's good to check thyroid numbers. There's TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, free T3 and free T4. Sometimes I'll even check a reverse T3. And then sometimes I'll even check thyroid antibodies. So it really depends on the situation and what kind of symptoms the patient's having. Sometimes fatigue can be just from you don't have enough nutrients. A common nutrients that people are low in is iron. So I'll check iron levels. Not necessarily serum or blood levels of your iron, but what's called ferritin, or your iron reserves. How are those numbers? Are you actually anemic? Do you have an iron deficiency anemia, or do you just have low iron? Some folks will check vitamin D. They can have low vitamin D, but the thing is, to be honest, everyone has low vitamin D, especially if you're a person of color. People of color will have darker skin, and that melanin in the skin will actually block the absorption of vitamin D from sunlight. And we get most vitamin D from sunlight, and most of us don't spend enough time outdoors. You need to be on a vitamin D supplement, but it's good to get some baseline vitamin D levels to see where it's at. So you're probably going to be low, but how low will you be? And it's good to track your vitamin D levels, because if you start taking supplements, how do you know if your numbers are going up if you don't repeat testing? There are other tests you can move on from there. There are some folks where I'll check your cortisol levels. So there's a morning cortisol check that you can do. It's a blood draw first thing in the morning, because cortisol tends to be very high in the morning, and as the day goes on, cortisol ends up going much lower. So it starts very high, boom, and then when you wake up, so you can deal with the stress of the day, and then it starts going down. And then at nighttime, it should be almost pretty low to nothing. Because you don't want a lot of cortisol, you don't want a lot of stress hormone when you're sleeping. I do have some folks, though, their cortisol starts creeping up at nighttime, and then that contributes to insomnia. There are other cortisol tests you can do. So there's a saliva cortisol test you can do, which you're doing at home, and it's a 24-hour cortisol saliva test. So it's a pretty easy test. You just check your saliva samples. You basically spit in a tiny little test tube over 4 to 6 times in a 24-hour period, and then you send it out to the lab to see where your 24-hour cortisol levels are at. It's very high in the morning. It's super low all day long. Just want to see where those cortisol levels are at. Now, there's other things that can contribute to fatigue too. But when it comes to gastrointestinal symptoms that could be contributing to fatigue, so if you have a lot of irritable bowel syndrome, or just malabsorption issues, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, for example, those folks have a lot of gastrointestinal issues, so they're really not absorbing their nutrients adequately. Some folks don't have enough probiotics or good bacteria. Some folks don't have enough digestive enzymes to break down the foods adequately to get them absorbed. So some people, they might be taking an iron pill or vitamin D, but they're like, man, my levels are still low. They might not just be absorbing it in their diet because of gastrointestinal problems, and which can cause some fatigue down the line. So For gastrointestinal test, I'll offer patients doing a stool or poop collection test. You do it at home. It's very gross. you basically take a dump in a little container, and then you take those small samples from that stool and put it in these little test tubes you send out to the lab. A very comprehensive test, though. It checks, is there an infection going on? Is there inflammation in the gut? Are you digesting your proteins, fats, and carbs? Do you have a lot of those macronutrients showing up in your stool because it's just going right through you? It's also checking how much good bacteria you have. Is there any yeast? Is there any parasites going on as well? So that's a stool test you can do. So we talked about blood tests, saliva tests, stool tests, and then some folks will do urine tests too. So you can check hormone levels, because some people have a hormonal imbalance. Low testosterone. Men and women can have low testosterone that can cause fatigue. If you have, a lot of times you can have progesterone imbalance too. So low levels can actually contribute to insomnia, which can cause fatigue too. So there's a lot of things that can contribute to fatigue, burnout, that's related to the hormones. So often I'll check hormones in a blood draw, so you can check hormones that way, but you also can check it through urine as well as saliva. So it depends on your ordering provider. So often they'll do blood. Often I'll do blood, but there are some docs who will do it in urine as well. So you got a number of routes that you can do. The last thing is there's some folks will want to check overall vitamin levels. So not just vitamin D or iron, but there's a full spectrum type of vitamin test that you can do, which is there's a few forms, but the common one that I'll do is actually a first morning urine collection. So that'll check your overall vitamin status. How much antioxidants do you have? Are you actually low in B vitamins? Are you low in vitamin C? Are you low in omegas? Are you low in probiotics? So a ton of things when it comes to fatigue, burnout. So those are a few of the testing options that we offer for a lot of my patients. And again, it's not necessarily just for fatigue that I'll offer those things. Sometimes I have patients with metabolic disorders. They're all like, man, I'm eating healthy, I'm exercising all the time, but I just can't lose my belly fat, I can't lose weight. Is there something else going on? So I'll do those types of tests, or I'm concerned about my hormones. So a lot of different types of tests that we offer. So I hope that makes sense. It's a lot of information, but those are a few things I do when it comes to tests. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next time.